Well, greetings, everyone. I bring you love from the United States of America. Normally, when you guys talk to me, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, but I am on location representing the fam of GZ Realty and Development, founded by the incredible Gozie Asawa, who is on the
Woo-hoo.
camera. Hey, Gozie. And the beautiful CEO, Ella Asawa.
Hi.
And I'm the managing partner, and I'm going to be anchoring our event today. And it is so wonderful to be able to be in this particular location. So when I'm here in the States, we anchored the companies in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but I'm not in Minnesota. I'm in beautiful North Carolina on the East Coast in my home where I grew up since I was 2 years old. So I'm in my hometown, my home house. My parents have been here for 50 years. And I think that's such an appropriate place to host an event of this magnitude. Since we here at GZ Realty are really about helping people reclaim their home. And so I get to actually talk to you all and anchor this event from my home. And so I want to see if I can get you to see a little bit of it. It's green, it's behind me. This is my dad's property that he secured for our family back in 1976. And he has about 7 lots back there. He's a hunter, so he has beagles. So he's an avid hunter. And there's a creek in the back where my brother and I used to play when we were little, and we would make all kinds of imaginary cities out of the trees and all that good stuff. And it's a legacy. It's something that my parents have kept in trust for our family, for their grandchildren. They have 7 grandchildren, and this is their legacy. And it's so good to be able to come home. So for my vacation, instead of going to Puerto Rico or Fort Lauderdale, I chose a vacation in my home where I grew up. And today's event is really an opportunity for us to explore and really talk about how to make sure that you safeguard, your investment, that you educate yourself, and that you're wise in how you procure land and property. So I'm just so incredibly grateful for our leader, our founder, Gozi, for putting together such a concept. One thing I can tell you as his managing partner, business partner, that has touched me about Gozi since he invited me into his real estate world. Gozi has been doing real estate much longer than I've known him, for more than 8 years. I had the honor of meeting him 3 years ago, and we have been business partners since then. We actually worked in another company that he also co-owns with me. But about a year ago, he stepped out in faith and decided to go beyond being a consultant in real estate and actually having his own company because he has high ethics. He wants to make sure that people are dealt with reputably from beginning to the end. And he only works with companies that make sure your paperwork is correct and that your deeds and things are clean. And that is something that he takes a lot of pride in and works really hard at. And I have seen the fruit of his ethics, and I've seen the fruit of his excellence, as has Ella, as we work closely with him day in and day out. Gozi has clients all over the world, particularly in the United States, many of whom have purchased from him multiple times because their deeds are clean and their properties are real. And when they fly out to Lagos, they can actually go and touch the ground, the land that they have invested in. And so I am so excited that today for our event, we get to have a great family style conversation. So I want to tell you guys how we're going to set it up today. It's going to be very interactive, very conversational. We're going to have opportunities for you to ask questions, really drill down. If there's something that we need to go back and get deeper understanding of, we don't want to give you any misinformation. We'll go back, we'll research, we'll bring it back to you quickly. That's how we do. But the main thing is we want to inspire you. We want to encourage you that it is safe for you to invest in places like beautiful Nigeria. It's safe. And how it's safe is that, like anything as a consumer, and I'm talking to you more as an American, because we're really big on consumer and consumer protections, your responsibility is to do your due diligence like you would in anything. If you were to buy property in the United States, if you were to make any kind of significant purchase, you need to do your due diligence, as we say, which is research who those people are and make sure that you have a clear understanding of what the processes are and what the law is around all of that to make sure that you are protected. You do the same thing when you go abroad. Because that's why we wanted to have this time with you. So that's my introduction, my welcome. I want to thank all of you who are coming in from everywhere. Welcome. We do this every single month. We have like a VIP family style meeting. And so you're welcome to come and bring friends every single month. We don't do salesy, pitchy stuff. We don't do pressure things. This is more of a time of education. We are a movement more than a company. And what I mean by that is that GZ Realty really truly is devoted to touching the hearts of diasporans. We are not exclusive only to people of African descent, but we are proud to say that we target people of African descent. We are proud to say that we reach out and that we're aggressive about educating diasporans about their opportunities and their opportunity to build a legacy, a financial legacy for themselves and their families. So again, welcome to everyone, especially people of African descent. So I'm going to now pass the microphone to the incredible Guzie Asawan, the founder, so that he can welcome you and kind of kickstart this amazing event. Hope I did okay, boss.
Yes, Miss Melissa, you did amazing. And I want to say thank you so much for anchoring that segment. It's so amazing having you. And I want to say a quick shout out to my people. I want to say shout out to Mr. John. I want to say shout out to Tia. I've not seen you before, but then I've been hearing so much about you from Melissa, and I wish to have you as part of all. I want to say shout out to Miss Ruth. Ruth has been someone I met physically here, and I trust me, I miss you a lot. I wish you can come back to Nigeria again. But then I'm happy you're also here. I'll say shout out to every new first comer that is actually coming to this event or going to be listening at the what they call it at the recordings, right? Just know that this is a safe space. This is not somewhere it's not somewhere that we just watch word or we just want to cajole you. No, this is somewhere we explain things, details for details. You are free to stop me and say you want to ask a question. You're free to you're free to actually ask question, right? You're free to chat the question or post the question on the chat. I'll answer it all. You understand? And while I'm saying this shout out, I want to say a shout out to Mr. John. I really appreciate this in particular. He's someone that I appreciate a lot. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much for all you do. Then I want to say shout out to everyone. This is all I do because I care about you and we are kind that way. So I don't know if I'm going to start this message. Well, am I to start the what we have or we should go ahead?
Yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes. Go
okay,
ahead.
okay. Thank you so much, boss. You know, Ella is the CEO of Realty, and I have to actually take permission from Ella before doing anything further. But then again, let's continue. So while we are here, let's go to the main. We are here about understanding real estate title and documentation in Nigeria. Do you understand? So people think that buying land is you just bought the land. The thing is that land does not just move around. Land is not something that is movable or something you can go and hide. You understand? So that way it makes the buying process different. You understand? So why people talk about title or documentation is because those are the legal backing that shows that you own a land. You understand? So if you just walk to a company and pay money for a land without getting your papers or without getting your document, without getting an agreement signed, it just shows that you are not really conversant with what's going on because title is important as getting the land. Do you understand? Once you have gotten your land title, your land documentation, or your land receipt, it shows that you have bought this property. And it means that if you come back 2 years' time, 3 years' time, that property still belongs to you. And you can actually show your document that this document was processed when you bought this property. That's the reason why we are discussing land title and land documentation. Because this is very, very important factor buying land. You understand? Because some people they think buying land is just pay your money and you just get your land and they'll know that you have gotten your land done. You need document to prove. You need legal backing in case of tomorrow. because you can buy a land and you may decide not to use the land till 10 years or till 20 years, depending on you, right? So now, what's proof that you are the owner of the land when you come back 10 years or maybe when you come back 20 years time is the fact that that land is being documented in your name. It's being proven or shown in your name. So now in Nigeria, there are different titles of land. In Nigeria, we have different titles. And in this title, there we have C of O, we have survey plan, we also have deed of assignment, and we have government consent. These are four important titles we have. You understand? Then the strongest title to have as an investor in buying land is the C of O title. It's strong, but for me personally, I don't really believe in C of O. C of O title is a trap. I know people will be like, why did I say so? Self title is a trap. Let me explain. I'll come to that, right? So we have, and like I said earlier, we have four titles. We have CFO title, we have deed of assignment, we have survey plan, and we have governance consent. Those are the four titles we have in Nigeria. The strongest is CFO, but CFO to me is a trap. So now I'll break it down bit by bit. So CFO title is a document given to you when you have bought a land and the land has moved from deed of assignment to government's consent to CFO. CFO is a title that the government approve for landowners. It means that this title can be presented in courts. Do you understand? And it also means that if government wakes up tomorrow and decides to claim your land that you bought, right, you can actually sue the government, and government will pay off or pay back what that land is worth. So, for instance, now if you buy a land let's say you buy a land in Lagos, I don't want to mention it because there are plenty areas in Lagos, but let's say you buy land in Lagos, right, and that land has a C of O title. It means that that land is free from government encumbrance, right? But maybe in 10 years' time, government decided that we need this land to do so thing, right? So now we need to settle off those people that owns this land. Now they ask you where is your C of O title, and you present your C of O title to them. Now if they settle you, they settle you off, they pay you the exact amount the land is worth. Sometimes they pay higher, depending, right? That's what C of O title does for you. Okay, that's the reason why it's the strongest title in Nigeria. Then we're going to move to the deeds of assignment. The deeds of assignment is my favorite type of title. It's the best kind of title for me, you understand? Because now, why is it the best type of title? Because you don't need to renew the deeds of assignment. But for a C of O title, after 100 years period of time, you need to renew a C of O title. You get, that's why I told you it is a trap. Do you understand? Because the silver title, imagine after 100 years, let's say for instance, you buy a land and you want to leave legacy for your children. You understand? So now that land, you have told your lawyer that you need this land to be passed to your children. And please, your children should not sell this land. Do you get? So now within 100 years period, after passing that from generation to second generation to third generation and start, this goes on and on like that. Then the land, the C of O title expires in 100 years. It means that land can be actually removed from your hands without you or your generation or your son renewing that land title. That's the reason I say C of O title is a trap. But deed of assignment, it's not renewable. You don't need to renew deed of assignment. Once you have gotten a deed of assignment, it proves that you are the legal owner of that property. It also proves that you can take that document to court to show the court that this property belongs to you with your deed of assignment. Then now we'll go to survey plan. Survey plan is also a document that it shows the diameter and the circumference of that land. Do you understand? So this survey plan, the people call it title, but me, I don't see it as a title. This survey plan comes with a title. Do you understand? It comes with a title. Do you get? So survey plan, it shows the length and width of your land. It shows how many square meter or how many centimeter, or for instance, because in Nigeria we have 600 square meter, we have 300 square meter land. 600 square meter is one plot in Nigeria. 300 square meter is half plot in Nigeria. Then 3,500 square meter is 1 acre in Nigeria. Those are the way we share our land. You understand? So it means if you want to get 1 acre, it means your 1 acre should be up to 3,500 square meter. Some companies they give extra land for buying an acre, right? I've done it to most of my clients. I can give a testimony of one of my clients that bought a property like around May, right? And she bought this property at the end of May. I told her that this property will increase in a daytime. She was thinking I was joking, right? So she bought an acre and they gave her extra property. After one day, the next month, the property skyrocketed to she bought it at $2,000. The property skyrocketed to $3,500 in one day. And she called me and was asking, what exactly did I do? She was trying to find out what was my secret. I said, it's nothing big there. I know when the buy-in is. I know where the buy-in is. You understand? I know where to buy, right? And when that buy-in elapses, the time for that increase has passed. You understand? So I digress. But let's go back to survey plan. What I was saying about survey plan is it is a dimension, it shows the dimension of your land. Where it shows how the land is structured. If your land is curved or bent, the survey plan shows that structure. Then we go to government consent. Government consent is also a document in Nigeria, but this government consent is a document you have to prepare before getting a C of O. Do you understand? Because all this documentation is step by step. First thing first, you have to first get is a deed of assignment when you buy a land. Is a deed of assignment. Then you decide that I want to get a C of O. It means that you need to get a governance consent first, right? When you now decide that you have gotten a government consent, you are not satisfied with that, you want to get a C of O. From government consent, you move to C of O. That's the way it's being set up. You understand? So so that's what it is about the four type of titles we have in Nigeria. Then now we're going to be talking about your property history. Like how do how do you know when how do you verify document? How do you verify document? How do you make sure that this document is legit? How do you make sure, let me put it, how do you make sure that this document is being is being um taken care of by the lawyer? Because there are some documents that are being forged. They forged documents too, right? How do you make sure that this document is being legit? So one is the chain. You understand? You must see chain of command. You must see where the property was being sold at the beginning. Do you understand? If
Yeah.
documentation shows the chain where property is being sold at the beginning, that's who was the owner before the person that is selling it currently. You understand? If you not see that chain, let me even explain. The original owner, then this is the chain. The original owner, the first buyer, the first person that bought it from the original owner, then the second buyer that bought it from the first buyer. Do you understand? Then the current seller. So that's the chain. If you don't see that chain in the documentation, just know that that documentation is being tampered with. That's the first thing you check. You understand? So fast due diligence checklist. Let's go to fast due diligence checklist. Demand original and verified number. So we have what they call land registry in Nigeria here. Like so for now, Nigeria has not gotten to a point where you can go online and start checking those things like the way the US is advanced, right? Because I heard that in the US you can actually go online and get some information about who owns what and who owns what, right? But over here in Nigeria, it's a we treat land like a secret thing, put it that way. People don't expose who owns why people
For
don't
the house.
expose what they have. Let me say it that way. People don't expose what they have. So most of the time it's kind of very secret. People want to have their land and not tell anybody. Do you understand? Some people you mingle with in Nigeria, you don't know that they have hectares and plenty land somewhere. You get that's the way they treat it over here. So now if you want to really verify or make due diligence about land, you need to actually go to the office to confirm those land. That's why you need the help of a lawyer, right? Which our company, Realty, we help our VIP clients handle. We help client VIP people we call VIP clients to handle both lawyer check-ins, due diligence check-ins, all those check-ins. That's what we do. All you just need to do is select the property you want and you pay for it. But we have done our due diligence behind the scene. These are the things we don't tell you. But I'll be reading out what we do, right? What we first do is we demand originals and verify numbers. So there's a number on each document, right? So once we get that number, we're able to take it to the land registry here in the States. That's Nigeria, not United States. We're able to check it to the land registry in Nigeria and actually be able to check where this document started from. Like I said earlier, the chain, right? When you go to the land registry, they're able to bring out the chain of command, how the document was being passed from one owner to the next owner, and that's what we do. Okay, we inspect property. You understand? In as much that we do land, we go to check the land and the documentation and go. We also go to the site, right? We also go to the property to make sure that what they put on paper is actually what we are seeing. Because some people, like I said, your survey plan, sometimes your survey plan is maybe, like, for instance, maybe your survey plan is 1 acre, and some people, they may put 3,000 square. You understand? You get, like, for instance, now you may go to the land to inspect the land, and you notice that it's actually 2,500 square meter that is on the land. But on paper, it's showing 3,500 square meter. That documentation is already showing discrepancies. They're not being correct in that documentation. I advise, if you're not getting property from Realty and maybe you're getting from otherwise, I advise you run. Like, once you see that small little mistake, take off. You are free to take off. That kind of mistake is something. So I'll go to the next one. So confirm survey matches sites. That's what I just explained now. We make sure that what is on paper is what we are seeing physically. Do you understand? Then we verify receipt and tax payment. We also verify receipts. We make sure that those receipts, this is the amount the owner sold it for. Do you get? We verify that this is the amount the owner sold it for. If the owner sold this for $2,500, we should be able to see the receipt. Do you understand? We should be able to see the receipt that this is the amount that the owner sold it for $2,500, right? Get signed seller statement. We also make sure that you get signed seller statement. It means that the person that is selling it, we make sure to get their statement to know that, because all this documentation process takes time, right? It takes time. It takes time to actually mature. You understand? So what we actually do is make the seller sign a statement that this is being worked on. You understand? So now what I'm going to go to now is top 5 red flag and quick response. Top 5 red flag. What I mean by red flag, I mean top 5 red flags you see on documentation or on things and response for you to do, right? Seller push cash now. So when you see companies, or when you see agents that push pay cash now, run. Like you see GZ, we believe in educating you first, we believe in training, we believe in exposure, we believe in making sure that you are exposed and knowledgeable before you start putting your money. Do you understand? That's why we call you VIP for a reason. We believe, because if you are educated in this field enough, you'll be able to know that, yes, this is, if you even go to the internet to do your research or do your personal research, what we have said is what you will see there. Do you understand? That's what we believe, right? Before you making payment for any property, you should do your research. You understand? And this research is what we have done, and we are actually educating you. You get? So now, if seller push cash now, your response is, I'll pay only after the title and document are fully verified. Do you understand? Verify the title, verify your document. It's very important. Do you get? Because some sellers, they don't want to show you their document, because they know that you may go and verify and you see the discrepancies they are hiding, right? So that's why some people, they don't pay cash for, they go check the documents, right? That's what we do. Before we present any property to you as a VIP client, we have already done our research and background checks for all property. We've done our research and background checks. You understand? Then untraceable title number. So now insist on verifying numbers directly at the land registry. So there's some document that if you go to the land registry to check it, their number, right? Because every document has a number. If you go to the land registry to check it, they will not be able to find it. You'll be wondering what's going on. That's what they call forgery. People forge documents like that. It's called forgery. People forge documents. And once you see that kind of thing, run. Like, carry your slippers like this. Take off. Do you understand? So the next one is multiple title for one plot. Do you understand? So this one is very important. Multiple title for one plot. For one plot. It means that, imagine a whole land is having C of O. A whole land is having maybe government consent, a whole land is having deed of assignment, a whole land is having another, those kind of multiple titles. Be careful. Sometimes it depends on the way the person register the way the person did it on the registry, that's the land registry, right? Because sometimes when you want to register for courtesy of O, you must have your, what they call it, you must have your government's consent. So those are the steps. But most times, if it's multiple like that, you have to check to know what is the process. How did the person take the step to get where the document is, you understand? So it's very, very intricate. That's why I tell people, I also advise people, get your own personal lawyer, real estate lawyer. That's why I say at GZ, we make sure our VIP client don't need to worry about those things. We have taken it upon ourselves to get an in-house lawyer to make sure that the in-house lawyer is checking this document and making sure that it is on track. We don't want problems, future problems tomorrow. When I say I'm leaving, when I say I want the African diaspora to leave legacy, this is what we're talking about. We are planning for the future. Do you understand? We're not just planning for now. We're planning that this land you're living, you're buying is going to be here till generation to generation before you now say, okay, they can sell it if they want to. Do you understand? So that's what this place is talking about. Then I'll go to the next place.
I'm sorry,
Pleasure.
Gozi. May I interject here real quick? I just want to
Yeah.
just highlight something that you said, and it's also for the benefit of the Americans who are on the call. Are you noticing that there are policies and processes and procedures and laws in Nigeria? There are so many stereotypes about real estate outside of the United States, particularly in Nigeria or in African countries. These are places, they have policies, they have processes, they have procedures, they have paperwork. And so I just want you to be reassured that that when you come to Nigeria, that the real estate market is booming here, and it's being invested in by a lot of international people because Nigeria in particular is very organized around real estate law. So I just wanted to just, point that out, that this is not just, Gozi trying to warn you off, but he's trying to help you to really see that it is safe to buy real estate here. It is a regulated, policy driven industry that has protocol. And he's making sure that we as a community are educated about it. Just wanted to highlight that, Gozi. Passing the mic back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting that, right? That was what I attribute in perspective that we at GZ, we help you with those things. That's why you don't see it behind the scene. You don't see how the chef makes the donuts, right? You don't see behind the scene. You understand? We help you cover those things. All we just
A
do is
chef will be
present a
making some
product.
croissants. We won't be making no donuts. They're gonna make croissants.
Yeah. So you don't see behind the scene. We help cover those we help cover those things, right? We help make sure that those documentation and those things are being covered. You get, so that's one reason. Thank you so much, Melissa, for actually bringing up that very point. I really appreciate.
Well, I'm
So
proud
I'm
of
going to.
Nigeria for that, though. I think that Nigeria doesn't get enough credit for being
Mhm.
that kind of industry. And that's why it's booming, because it is organized. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate. So now, in all that I've said, let me give a typical example. Let me give an example so that you'll be able to grab what I mean. So the example is this. So I am a buyer. I want to buy a land of, let's say, 3,000 square meter. And 3,000 square meter is up to an acre. You understand? So I want to buy a land of 3,000 square meter. Then I meet a seller, right? So I ask the seller first, where is your document? Let me see your document, which is compulsory. It's normal for you to ask the seller, what is your document? You understand? It's very normal. Then the seller brings out his documents, which I take this documentation, I go to the land registry to search the number of documents, to check where this document was sold, the chain of command in this document. What I also check is to make sure that this document has a former owner, and that owner sold it to someone, and that someone sold it to the current owner. And sometimes I see the breakdown on price. I see the price they sold it the first time, and the price they sold it the second time, and price he is about to sell. Do you understand? So now when I see those things, it means that the document is clear and good to go. And I also verify that if the land is free from government encumbrance, very, very important. Like I will tell you, all land belongs to the government. Do you understand? All land belongs to the government, which is for every state, even in the US, all land belongs to the government. But when you buy land, make sure those land
Hello,
are
everybody.
not being.
Hey, this
everybody.
my dad.
Hey, it's nice meeting you.
Oh, he can't hear you. Hold on. We turn that off. Okay.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes. How are you? Yeah, that's Goldie.
Hey,
How you
nice
doing?
meeting
That's
you.
Ella. Hello. And then Melissa, she's hiding. Yeah, she's hiding.
Melissa just muted her
So
mic.
this right here is the guy who's got me doing all this. He's passing his legacy to
Oh,
me,
oh,
and I'm passing it to Junior, who ran
thank you so,
upstairs. Yep. And as you can see,
thank you
things
so
go
much.
uphill. You see?
Hi,
Uh,
Dad.
It goes
It's good to
uphill.
see you, Dad.
And then Gino is going to pass you. Gino, it's go like this.
I need to put my foot up there now.
I tell you.
All right. I'm muting. Sorry
No
about that.
worries, John. No worries.
you see what I say?
Go ahead,
That's
Gazi.
what I mean. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear
Can you hear
you?
me now? I say, see what I said? I'll be
Yes,
that's what I
yes,
mean.
yes.
When I say we are leaving legacy, right? We are trying to make sure that the African diasporas come back to Nigeria to actually leave legacy over here to build legacy too, right? It means that the land is being passed down from generation to generation, and like he said, he's passing his own land to Junior. I am so excited about Mr. John. I can remember when he came to Nigeria to visit. We had a lot of fun. He came with his son. I was so inspired with him because he came with his son. And also, what I noticed is he keep on toggling his son to learn things that I was saying or I was talking about or I was pointing, right? It's learning, it's teaching and training his son to learn what he's doing. And that's why I respect Mr. John so much. I want to say thank you so much and I appreciate you and what you do. So, yeah, like I said, wait, wait, like I said, I was painting a picture of an example. You
Yes.
understand? I was painting a picture of an example. Then now we are checking this documentation, right? And I found out that there's an error in the documentation. Like for instance, maybe I was not able to see the chain in command. I was not able to see the owner that sold the land to the person that is currently selling to me, right? That is a flawed document. That is a document that you should run away from. You understand? These are the things we do at Realty, right? These are the things we make sure we handle. We make sure that you don't even know about, right? But we are here to actually show you how we actually
Permission.
make this such thing. Okay,
Permission
permission
to
granted.
interject. Thank you, boss. I want to talk a little bit about errors and mistakes in paperwork, so that we don't oversell, real estate in general. Paperwork, anytime you're in a business, there could be a mistake or something that comes up. But I think more so what Gilsy's talking about is people who are blatant about it and they have no sense of correction. There's no sense of due process. And if you were to bring it to their attention, they make excuses and they don't fix it. That's when you know that there is something wrong, because sometimes people may misspell somebody's name or this, that, and the other. You can see imperfection sometimes in paperwork anywhere in the world, but it shouldn't be something that is, how do I say, um, the word that's where it's blatant. It's kind of like it's just so you can just tell that even the paper that it's on, something's off. And more importantly, if you bring it to someone's attention, they don't fix it quickly. They don't even acknowledge it. Those are the signs that something is wrong. I just wanted to add that in there, Gozy, because in all countries, especially in developing countries where processes and things like that happen, there could be little minor things that could come up. And you just need to be with a professional organization that's checking for that, and making sure that they're reading it along with you, so that every I is dotted and T is crossed. So just wanted to add that, Gilsey.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and that's why you're the managing partner. So feel free to jump in. Yeah, so I really appreciate you, Miss Melissa. And yeah, that's all I have to say. But then I'll say this: documentation is important in land. Please don't take it for a joke. If you're going to leave legacy, make sure you have your papers in your hand. And note that sometimes those papers take time to prepare. Bear with the time. But when you get your papers at hand, keep it safe. It's important. Don't just let people to show you land or show you properties and you pay for it without remembering your documentation. it's important you get your documentation. That's why I'm emphasizing on it and on it. If I want to say, please hold your ear, documentation is important. But then again, I'll pass the mic to the CEO, Ella. Mike, over to you. So let's know where the next move. Thank you so much, and I'm happy you are able to learn one or two things. And for those that are going to be listening to this audio, thank you so much for actually listening in. And if you have any question, you have any other thing to add, please feel free. I'm open to answer any question. Feel free, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gazier. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Like, how many of us enjoyed this session? How many of us? Let me see an emoji. Let's raise up our hands. Let's wave. I want to see an emoji. How many of us enjoyed this section? How many of us learned something new? Because every time, you know that one thing about this is that knowledge is progressive. You need to learn every time. You need to learn every time. So how many of us learned something new? That this is your first time. Okay, I can see 3 people. Okay, that's nice. That's great. Wow. Knowledge is progressive indeed. And I really learned a lot. Thank you so much, Gazier. Thank you so much. So right now is a Q&A session. Is a Q&A session. If you have any question, you can, this is the time now to ask what is on your mind. What is it that's bothering you? What do you think that you need answers to regarding land document and titles? Just come up to the stage. You can come off mic. So waiting for you. Any question? Any question for us? With what was discussed so far, is there any question, something you're not clarifying, something you're not clear with? We can repeat that again. We can recap it again. So any question? Any question? Or leave it. If you're so shy to come up, you can leave it. You can leave it. Don't worry. You can. I understand that feeling. I
I
understand
have
the
a
feeling.
question. I
Okay,
have one.
please go ahead, John.
So I know
Okay.
you were saying about due diligence and everything. Could you give a quick step-by-step on how people should actively buy a piece of property? Because due diligence is sometimes confusing, because you listed a lot of different documents people are supposed to see. But most of the time here in America, we go look at the land or the property, and then we might get a home inspection, we might get a survey, and then we'll do the title search. But more often than not, we have to send our money to a lawyer who holds it in escrow. So can you explain to everybody a quick step-by-step, what should people do before they even send money to Nigeria?
Okay.
Yeah,
Really
okay.
thank you
I
so
love that question. That is an outstanding question. Thanks,
I
John.
love it, question. I love it so much.
Yeah, thank you
Okay,
so much,
Gazi.
Mr. Jan. Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. John, for that amazing question. That is very, very amazing. So step by step, right? If you are not, if you're not going to be buying real estate from my company, and maybe now you're going to be buying that property from outsiders, because what we do as a company is we help mitigate any stress of you going to do your due diligence and your verification and all that. We do that personally for you. Right? We don't present property to you that are not already verified by me personally. Do you understand? After being verified by me, I also take it to my lawyer to also put a second eye to those documents because it's very important too. You understand? So that's what me personally I do as a company or as we. That's what personally we do as a company. But that question Mr. John asks is if you're not buying property from this company directly, maybe now you just want to buy from a random person. First thing first, right? Before sending your money to that person, first thing first, make sure you trust the person. I don't mean it may be like a first trust. You must have gone through the person's social media to make sure that this person knows what he's doing. You must have gone through the person's page, Facebook page, profile to make sure that this person knows what he's doing. And you must have gone through the website to know if this person has testimonials that of people that have purchased properties from this particular company or persons, right? So those are the first things you must get. Then secondly, when you're doing your own due diligence, you ask first for documents of the property. You ask the agent, what is the document that this property have? For instance, if you want to buy a 2-bedroom apartment in Lagos, first thing you ask the person selling for you is what does this property type? If he tells you C of O, great, better choice. If he tells you this is of assignment, good choice also. If he tells the government consent, also a good choice. So it depending on what he tells you, it depends on his response. So if he tells you CFO, then you say, okay, can he send you the documents so you can do your search? It is normal to ask your agent to send you documents to do search. You get? So when they send you the picture of the document, you could actually give that picture to your lawyer to go do the search. I won't advise you to go do the search yourself because there are some intricate things that are involved there.
I'm
You may not
interjecting
be able to
here,
see.
Gozi, because the step two, you just put the step two and mixed it with step three a little bit, and that's lawyer. So the lawyer making sure you have a Nigerian lawyer, somebody who understands Nigerian law, is so important to do with the step two that Gozi's talking about. So if when you do due diligence in Nigeria, John, and with all the rest of the people who are here, please procure a person, a lawyer who specifically is an expert in property, because lawyers have different specialty areas, of course. So make sure they are a lawyer who works in property, which means you may need to ask around, do a little bit of searching on the internet, social media. It may take you a little bit, but you will find one. And we certainly have one that we can recommend who works in-house for us. But that's a definite part of that due diligence step two. Back to you, Gozi.
Yes, what she said. So it's important you have a lawyer. That's what I was trying to reach out. It's important you have a lawyer when getting those documents, right? Because I won't advise you go yourself to verify those documents because there are some things that you may not really see, right? That a lawyer will pinpoint and pick, right? And sometimes it's written in words. Do you get? Sometimes it's written in words. You understand? So that's why I tell people, if you're doing checks, make sure you send the document to a lawyer to go do the checks, right? So when the lawyer goes do the checks and the lawyer come back, the lawyer response will not determine if you should go for the property or not, right? If the lawyer tells you the property is okay, documentation is good, then you can actually go ahead to pay. Note, always make sure you pay to a company's account. When making payments apart from the company, that was my company, always make sure you pay to a company's account. Do you understand? Don't pay to a private owned bank account, like account that bears a name. Don't pay your money to those accounts. Always make sure you pay money to a company's account so that if anything occurs in future, you have your receipts, you have your payment receipt to actually show to the court or to the lawyer, right? That you have made payment to so account. Do
Okay,
you understand?
let me
So
interject here. Let me interject here, Gozi, because you're saying something else that people may miss. There is buying from a private family, a private individual, and then there's buying from a company. It's a much higher risk, John, and everybody else who's on the call, when you buy from individuals. When you buy from private sellers, because a lot of times, particularly in African countries like Nigeria, you own your land as a family. So it's not easy to sell land as an individual. You can, but it's challenging because sometimes you have to make sure they have authorization to sell that land. Sometimes there are tribal rules around the land. It may need to be something that's cleared through a chief or a king for that area. And so we work with companies. When we sell land, we work with companies for that reason, because it cuts out a lot of messiness. So passing the mic back to you, Gozi, because some people may not get that who are from the United States.
thank you so much for that, right? Like she said, there are two ways of buying property. Is either you buy from an individual or you buy from a company. You get it. So in those two ways, make sure if you are buying from an individual, make sure you are sending it to the owner's name. You are sending the cash to the individual, the owner of the land's name. Do you understand? Then while you are buying from a company, make sure the name of the company, you are sending the money to the name of the company. You understand? Because there are a lot of stories around sending funds to real estate agents and sending funds to companies and sending funds. There are a lot of stories. So always make sure when you're sending money, you're sending it to either the company's account or the individual, the owner of the individual on the documentations. You understand? Those are the two things I was trying to point out there. You get. So now after making your payments, the next step is you receive receipts. You understand? You receive receipts from the company or receive receipts from the individual. Those are the next step. Then once you have that receipt, now you wait 3 to 4 months before your document is out. Do you understand? It takes 3 to 4 months before document is being prepared because sometimes they need to pick and survey the land. Do you understand? So now while surveying the land and preparing those documents, it takes time, 3 to 4 months. That's what it is. You understand? So once you have gotten your document, your land belongs to you. You understand? I don't know if I'm able to answer John's question. I hope John, you are okay with this answer, or do you need more clarity?
Hi, John. Are you still there? Okay, while we wait for John, so any other question? Hunter, do you have a question for us?
I want to add something, and then I want to go to Hunter. But,
Okay.
you know, if you're new to working with a company, you can even ask them to show you a sample receipt. Like, what would you be getting? You can ask them ahead of time for their processes. I know at GZ Realty, we provide that for our clients. We tell you what your process will look like. You know, we use, you know, companies. And so the companies will often send the receipts when you pay for something to a company per se. So you'll sometimes get a receipt from them versus getting it from us. And sometimes we come in, and depending on our relationship with the company, we will provide those receipts directly in-house. We'll pay on your behalf. It just depends on the relationship we have with the companies. Am I correct, Gozi?
Very much correct, Melissa.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, John. I saw your response. So he said yes, that this question was for people in the future that get to watch this video, and I also asked them the same question as well. Thank you so much for that question. So up to you, Hunter. Do you have any question? I noticed you wanted to talk before John spoke. Hi, Hunter. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
So my question is a bit tricky because it's not related only to land, but it's related to the building, the building. So my question is, I mean, for me, I'm still a student. You know?
Okay.
I'm new to real estate. So my question is, many people say that there's no bad time to start buying property. So what is the exact rules you guys use to see if this building, like if I want to buy an apartment so I can rent it out, how will you say this is a good apartment to buy so I won't fall to the wrong apartment? That's my first question. My second question, what are the biggest mistake people do when they try to scale from one property to 10 or more properties?
Okay, maybe let's take it one by one. Let's take it one by one, so you're not able to forget this. So let's take the first question. So, because I leave the mic to you. The first question is asking, how do we know the right apartment? Am I correct, Hunter?
Yes, what's the right deal?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Hunter. I really appreciate that question. So, how do you know the right apartment? First and foremost, depending on what you want to use the apartment for. Do you understand? There are some people that want to do the apartment for family. They want their family to come and stay. You understand? And there are some people they want to use the apartment for Airbnb. So if you want to use the apartment for Airbnb, I would suggest that the location is in a good location. It's very, very important. You cannot have an Airbnb apartment in the village. Do you understand? Because I think it's only you that will be staying there in that village. You get so it's very, very simple, right? An Airbnb apartment will always be in the middle of a town, close to the airport, close to mall, close to places that your guests can actually go to
Easy access
within a short distance and all those kind of things. That easy access to the location. So that's why I said when I started, I said it depends on what you as an investor want to use the apartment for. So now if you want to use the apartment for family living and all, then the location doesn't matter. If you want buy the apartment in the moon, it's your choice. Do you understand? So but the main focus is here, what do you want to use the apartment for? What exactly is your desire for you to use the apartment for? That's what makes your decision to where the location of that apartment is, because it now makes you decide exactly. You understand? So that's one thing. I don't know if I've answered your question, or you want me to go deeper, because there are deeper things to say about this. But yeah,
yeah, you can
yeah,
go
I hope I answered
deeper.
your question.
You can go deeper because I don't want to.
I can add something, Gozi. So you want to do some market research around that area too. So if you want to get or do an Airbnb, then you can actually search and look at some of the properties. Go into it as if you're a renter, go into it as if you're a buyer, and look at your neighbors. Okay. Look at your neighbors. You can also, it's not it's that easy, but you can also see if you can research about any city planning that's going on around that area. Sometimes information is not that updated, but sometimes Nigeria is really building up. Lagos in particular is doing a lot of building. There's Echo Atlantic. There's so much building going on. So plans are being discussed a lot online. And so you have to do a little bit of research, but it's worth doing. So that way you can see where the hot spots are. And Gozi says something that's very brilliant. What is your property for? Okay. Because there is a housing shortage in Lagos. Okay. So buying outside of the city can be a good thing because people need housing, they need affordable housing. And so you're going to rent it. You're going to make money off of it. But you need to, again, do some research, look at some of the current properties that are there, and all that information is online. You can see that easily. Passing it back to you, Gozi.
Thank you so much, Melissa Perkins. I appreciate that top of answer. So what's the next question?
Okay, Hunter, what's the second question?
Oh, I understood his second question because I'm all over that one. He was asking about and Hunter, if you could just kind of clarify that last part of what you were asking, because I think it was, let me just have you put it in your own words one more time.
Yeah, I was asking to share the mistakes that people, like the bad decisions or mistakes that people do from scaling from one property to 10 or more properties.
Right. So you're talking about scaling. So I'll throw my 2 cents in and then pass it to somebody who knows a lot about investing in real estate, and that's Gozi. But my observation is that people are impatient. That's the number one mistake, is that people are not patient with their first investment. Okay. So you need to give your first investment an opportunity to show you what is called an ROI, a return of investment. So that way you can measure your own decision making as an investor. So much is learned in your first attempt. That's where you really see who you are as an investor. Did you do your due diligence enough? Did you research enough? Did you ask enough questions? Most of your mistakes are going to happen the first time, and it's normal. It's natural. You're going to not think of some things, and that's why it's important to go first. It's your first experience, so don't beat yourself up and don't get frustrated. There's always a next time. And so a lot of people don't spend time with their first investment, really understanding it before they're like, okay, I want to go get the next thing. I want to go get the next thing. And that's why they end up having these catastrophes, because they did not stop and analyze their first one. Okay. The other thing that I think people make a mistake with scaling is they don't always think about maintenance. Okay. Like when you get a property, and let's say you're doing an Airbnb or you're doing a rental property or what have you, you have to plan for breakdown. These are places that are going to break. They're going to have issues, and you need to plan for it. Okay. And so they don't save up for those things because you need to have repairs. And you need to make sure you have a good person who you trust who can do those repairs, because that's where the money starts to leave you. Okay. So making sure that you plan for maintenance. These are some things that people don't think about. Now I'm going to pass to the real genius of the family, Mr. Gozi. But those are just the two that just popped in my head, Gozi.
Oh, okay, Melissa. Actually, the funniest thing that you said, you got it all right. You got it all right, right? So, but this is what I'll add. I'll add to this. Scaling, right? Like I said, it depends on the client. No, not put client, sorry. It depends on the investor. You understand? Because there are some investors I've seen that are hardcore, right? They want to go put in because they have experience. You understand? They have had experience. There are some investors that have had experience. Because one thing I not know is that before you become an investor, there must be something you have done that made you an investor. You understand? They don't call you an investor for no reason. You get, so they have had experience, and when they are going for things like property and land, because real estate is one of the reliable source of income in the world. Let me not say source of income, like source of investment in the world. You understand? Because people keep telling, even if you ask the richest, there's this show I watch on Facebook about this guy that actually asks billionaires about what made them rich, or how did he become rich? He actually go around asking billionaires in their Maserati and all those kind of things. He asked them what made them become rich. And one of the issue I saw when he said real estate is the best kind of investment that made them rich. You understand? So this is a knowing. People know this. Land, they're not creating more land anywhere. Land is not like a product that you can reproduce or manufacture. That land is there. That land is there forever. The number of what it is the number that it is. You understand? So when people when investors are going hard on an investment, it depends on what their strategy is. What is their strategy? Scaling, right? Those investors that have really strategized and they have financial advisors and all things. So it's planning. You get it involves a lot of planning, a lot of advisors and all those kind of things, right? So when you want to scale, like Melissa said, patience with the first one first, right? After having that patience with the first one, then now when you have seen progression, you start scaling. And sometimes when you are scaling, you don't need to even scale too much, right? You just scale to bank, right? Like sometimes I tell people you can buy a 2 bedroom apartment or 3 bedroom apartment in a hot zone, like in a place that is booming that you can use for Airbnb, right? And also buy land in a developing area, right? And that's what they call land banking. You buy land in a developing area where you could actually let that land wait till development come to that area. You understand? That's also a strategy you get. So that's where I'll stop. I don't know if I've answered your question, but Melissa, you did well in answering that amazing question. I think I trained you well.
Yes,
Everything I know, I learned from Dozy. So I'm just recycling what my boss taught me, Mr. Hunter.
I can see
Well,
totally.
guys, we're already at the top of the hour. We're actually running slightly over, but this is Q&A, and we don't like to not answer questions. But we understand if you need to hop off, because we just do this event for about an hour. But we love engaging with our VIPs. And answering all of your questions. So we're not going to rush you, but we just wanted to let you know that the program is officially over. So if you got to skedaddle, we completely understand. But we're going to be here, a little longer if you want us to answer some questions, because we really want you to feel super comfortable about taking the steps towards investment. So Ruth is here, and then we also have this other lovely individual here who I don't want to butcher their name. So I'll say we have the great L here. And so please feel free to unmic and ask questions or make comments.
Okay,
So,
Hunter, do you have any other question?
yes, my other question. So, I mean, I am a student.
Okay.
Currently working. I'm doing investment.
Okay.
So, is it a good idea for when I get my job, like when I'm working, to buy a property or land using a loan?
Okay. Is that all your question?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's the
No,
same
that's all the question in this particular one.
Hey,
Okay, Melissa, before you talk, let me chime in here a bit. I, for once, I don't like loan. I don't like it. I don't like it for at all, and I can't even advise my enemy to even get a loan. So I will tell you no. Okay, John wants to answer. Let's give John
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the
Americans have different answers. We like debt. So John, take it away.
So this is what I will say to you. It is only a good idea for you to take a loan if you are in a position to pay it back without losing what you're actually trying to get, and also without losing what you already have. There's no point in trying to buy a hat, but then you lose your head in the transaction. You see? This is an African American proverb I just made up. Anyway, so if you have money,
Thank you so much, John.
I want that on a t-shirt.
if you have money, then you can invest. If you don't have money, then hopefully, sometimes it's hard. Maybe you can find a team of people who might be willing to invest with you. They might not want to be on all the paperwork and documentation. You might have to do your own individual contracts. For instance, if somebody gives me a certain amount of money and I'm trying to buy a large property, but I don't have all the money, I might give them whatever percentage it is that they gave me so that I could be successful in my deal. I might give them that percentage as a return on investment. So there's things that you can do to negotiate with your family and friends, especially if y'all are close, you see. So that's what I would recommend to you. Now, if you do have the ability to get a loan, get it and pay it back as fast as possible. You should be financially literate enough to know what's within your budget. That's all I got.
That's great
Thank you so
advice.
much, sir.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question on that one?
Oh, I want to chime in just a little bit here, though, because you're a student, and I want to straddle the two worlds that you just heard, because you got sound wisdom from both Ella and from John. You know, but as a student, you get to be an observer of other people and what they've done. Do you not? And I think that's what makes you so special, to be here right now, to learn how to do things in such a way. As an American, as an African American who's come to Nigeria, one thing I really admire about my brothers and sisters in Nigeria is that they're not deeply in debt when it comes to real estate. They own, they own. And again, there's nothing bad about taking out a loan, but I want to just tell you, this is a buyer's market. Okay. You're not able to get properties here and have a long payment plan. Most of them are just a year. So you need to have the finances to be able to afford to do it, which is why you can start small with land banking, for example. And I would highly recommend that as a student of real estate, that you come in initially as someone who doesn't take out a loan. And you reserve doing that when you're doing a major endeavor, when you're doing a big initiative. But I think in the beginning, for you to really appreciate real estate, you should come in and buy what you can afford, period, and see the full appreciation without having that pressure and that just the fact that you have to pay interest. You're actually paying more than you're not really getting the kind of deal you could get if you pay straight cash for your property. And then loans are for the mature, okay? And I don't mean by age, I mean experience, okay? Loans should be done by people who have proven to themselves that they have good due diligence with their finances, that they know how to manage their finances very well. Because something that John said that I think is so key is he says that you can pay it back, and you can pay it back quickly, okay? And so being able to know your capability, and that comes from maturity, financial maturity. And so just wanted to say that. Before we go back to you though, Hunter, let me just check with the other people that are on the call and then circle back to you to see if any of them have something they would like to offer. Ruth, I want to come to you because I personally invited you. Is there anything you want to share or ask before we skedaddle out? Just checking in with you. Going once, going twice to Ruth. And then Elle. Oh, there's Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. We're just checking to see if you have any questions or if you want to make any comments.
No, I'm fine.
But we're so grateful that you took the time to come today. And then this beautiful, let me just put my glasses on because Zoom print is quite small. But Mr. or Mrs. Monarang.
So, Monarang, please, can you unmute? Let's hear your lovely voice. You've been quiet for a while. Or are you sure you could leave a text message?
Well, we thank you for coming. And we are so appreciative. And we also want to acknowledge Mr. Reason is here. Reason is a dear, oh yes, I'm gonna say a little shout out about Reason, but Reason is one of our amazing partners in GZ Realty. The brand, the logo that you see, he designed it. So we just love him. So, but yes, hi,
okay.
nice to meet you.
Monarang is...
I would like to ask, how does property increase in value? Is it because of local developments such as building malls or like schools, stuff like that?
And I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Yeah, like I said, I would like to know, how does property increase in value? Is it because of building like developments in local surroundings, or?
You're talking about appreciation of property?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and specifically for Lagos, for Nigeria, or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah, most properties worldwide are the property value increases based on the location. So when you hear location, things that make something a great location are like schools, very good schools, great infrastructure, good roads, close to the airport. Almost all the time, the closer you are to the airport, the higher the property value is. Are you located close to very popular recreation centers like stadiums and coliseums and things of that nature? And then also another thing is, especially in developing countries, it is infrastructure. How good is the power? How good is the electricity? What band of electricity is a particular development in? That's very big in Nigeria, so that you can see, how good is the power supply for a particular area? How good is the water? Things like that really factor in. But then next, and not to say least, is the developments, the other developments that are around a particular area. How well kept are they? What is the crime rate, for that particular area? Are there good shops and markets? Because people don't want to be stuck in traffic trying to go to the store and get their kids picked up from school. So people want to be able to have plenty of shops and malls and different places to go to. So those are all the things that really factor into property valuation in real estate. Hope that helps your question.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Reason, for being here. It's nice having you here. And then,
yeah, thank you. Sorry, I don't know.
Reason, do you have a question for us? Maybe.
It's kind of getting choppy
Hello?
for me. It's a little choppy on your side, Ella. Am I choppy? Can you hear me clear?
Yes. I can
No,
hear
no,
you
no,
clear.
no, you're not.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Please.
Okay. Well, let's just circle back to Hunter real quick. Hunter, thank you for being such a sharer. We want you to give the last and final question of our event. So take it away, Hunter.
So I'm still on the loan part. So I wanted to ask a question, which say, what if you own shares that are worth 1 million and you are buying a property that's worth 100,000, 80,000, 800,000? So is it possible to use the shares as collateral and to get a loan to buy the property?
That's something you have to ask a respected financial institution. Financial institutions are very different, and some will accept something like that depending on your portfolio and how liquid you can become. Typically, collateral is something hard, like land, a house, a car. It's a physical asset. So typically, most lending institutions globally, they like something that they can quickly do a short sale and get the money for. So shares and things like that can become nebulous because unless it's like something that's like Amazon or Google or Apple or something like that, something that's a household name, that'll get people's attention. But most of the time, real estate is a cash industry. Like even if you take out a loan, you're getting a loan that gives you cash to buy, right? And so you don't typically like real estate is just getting into the realm of crypto where you can pay with digital currencies and all this other stuff. That's very new and experimental. But real estate is still pretty universally, especially in Nigeria, a place where you have to have hard currency. So you would need to liquidate those assets. Liquidate means turn that asset into cash by cashing it out. So that's typically what you would be encouraged to do around real estate. You ask great questions. You're serious. You're gonna be a serious person one day. And I want to thank all of you. I'm gonna give Ella the final mic, her and Gozi. But as managing partner, my role here at GZ Realty and Development is to really be here for client relations from our Westerners. So we have in our portfolio, we have quite a few, more than half of our portfolio are Americans who multi-invest in real estate. And so I'm here to answer their questions, be a support to them, advise the founder and owner, Gozier, as well as the CEO, Ella, and how to best service people from my part of the world. But I love, and I am a resident of Nigeria. So I have a green card. So I actually live half the time in Lagos, Nigeria, and half the time in the United States. And so I can speak personally to what is happening in that marketplace. And we only focus on real estate at this time on the continent. And our main focus is Lagos, Nigeria. So welcome all of you, and I really hope that this event has been meaningful to you and that you want to be a part of our family. So please make sure that if you haven't already, that you've given your information to Ella so that we can follow up with you and make a folder for you and bring you into our WhatsApp community so that you're always up to speed on when we're having this event. We do this monthly, and there's always something unique and different that we're doing. And we really want you to know we're a movement. So please tell people in your life who are ready to invest. Please talk to people like your parents, your professors, your neighbors, people who you really want to see them prosper. Please let them know about us so that we can be able to help move them forward. All right. So all my love and thank you all for coming. And I'm passing everything back off to my beautiful colleagues. Melissa in the US, I'm out.
Okay, thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Hunter, for that wonderful questions. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. And then Monarang, right? That's really right. I don't think I have your information. Who invited you? Or do I?
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Do I have your information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what was your name? What was the name I reached out to you? Because this name is new.
It's Slowly.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay. Right now, well, Melissa, could you please help us? So we're going to be showing some part of the properties that we have. You understand? So Melissa is going to help us show that, and then we'll round up. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Sure. All right, let me.
So while we wait for her, because did you have any final thoughts, anything? Because are you there?
Ella, because of the time and some people have left, do you think we should just maybe send these out individually?
Okay, that's what I will do.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. So because of the time, we've passed the time. It's supposed to be 1 hour, 30 minutes, but we've passed the time. I'm going to send it to each and every one of us on this call. I'm going to send it to Hunter, Ruth. I'll get your number from Melissa. So I'm going to send it to Monareng, and then I'll send other people that joined so that they can see it for themselves. Thank you so much for your time. We've come to the end of this webinar. Hope you all learned a lot. And Mr. Hunter's question has even surpassed what we even planned. Yes, we all learned a lot. So see you next webinar, and also don't forget that GZ Realty and Development, we are family. We're all about legacy. And before we round up, let's hear from the founder himself, his closing speech. So Mike goes to you, Gozie. Can you come off camera?
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ella. I'll always come off camera, but thank you so much, Ella. I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to everyone that attended. I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate those people that are going to be listening to this audio. I want to say, yes, you listening. I really say thank you, and I appreciate you listening to this audio. But this is my speech and my final say. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. You have taken smart step by learning the exact signal that separates a safe property land from a risky one. At GZ Realty and Development Limited, we don't just talk about titles, we deliver the right title and complete court-ready documentation to your purchases. It's secure from day one. Because you attended today's webinar, we are giving participants priority access to our portfolio of fully documented, vetted properties and land and a complimentary 20 minutes buying roadmap call to help you move forward with confidence. No guesswork, no surprises, just property with our legal and title process already applied. Do you understand? So if you want to prioritize access, click the link in the chat to book your call.
I'm going to be sending the link right
Ella, please put the link in the chat. So in case you want to prioritize, then thank you again.
Yes,
buy with confidence, build your legacy, and let GZ Realty handle the paperwork so you can focus on your future. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. I take a bow.
Well done.
Thank you so much, everyone. So remember that for joining this call. So, like I said, if for joining this call, you are going to be a free, like I said initially, we're going to be giving we're going to send you a video of properties, vetted properties that we've gone through ourselves legally. We've made sure the legal process are okay, and then you have a 20 minutes call, with the founder to understand the buying process.
Ella, you're breaking. So, Ella, you're breaking, sweetheart.
Just once the link coming, please click on the link. I'm also going to send it to you personally as well. So in case if you're not able to grab it, I'm going to send it to you personally as well. So thank you so much for joining the call. Thank you once again. We've come to the end of this webinar. Woo-hoo! Like, I'm so excited. I love this webinar. Has been the best. How many of us can testify? This webinar has been the best.
It was good. Super. It was super.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming.
Hello.
We're here.
Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, we can. You broke a little bit, but we could hear you pretty good. But you broke a little bit, sweetie. But we heard the majority. Okay. Yeah, we heard the majority. We heard the majority of it. It was excellent. Well said. We heard both you and Gozi. All right, everybody. Have a good day and stay in touch with us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.